Seattle's skyline glittered like a cruel promise, all glass and steel reflecting a city that chewed up dreamers like Nora Callahan and spat them out. At 27, she stood in the penthouse of her family's Capitol Hill empire, her swollen belly tight against her thrift store sweater, her heart hammering. 6 months pregnant, penniless, and clutching a laptop that held her life's work, she was no match for the storm about to break. The air smelled of Diane's lavender diffuser and Richard's Cuban cigars. A scent that once meant home, but now choked her with dread. "Nora, you've got some explaining to do." Mason's voice cut through the room, sharp as the tailored edge of his Brioni suit. Her older brother leaned against the marble kitchen island, arms crossed, his blue eyes glinting with something darker than disappointment. Beside him, Lila, his fiancée, tapped her manicured nails on a stack of papers, her lips curling into a smirk that could slice glass. Diane and Richard, Nora's parents, sat on the cream leather sectional, their faces carved from stone. The family portrait above the fireplace. Nora, Mason, and their late sister Evelyn, laughing on a Whidbey Island beach, mocked the scene below. "Explain what?" Nora's voice trembled, but she squared her shoulders. Her fingers tightened around her laptop, the weight of Vanguard Lock's code grounding her. She'd poured 3 years into that software, a revolutionary encryption for medical IoT devices. A dream born from Evelyn's death to hacked hospital equipment. It was her ticket out of this family's shadow. Or so she'd thought. Mason slid the papers across the island. Bank statements, $50,000 siphoned from the family trust. Your digital fingerprints all over it. His tone was courtroom cold, the tech CO persona he'd perfected at Callahan Solutions, their parents' empire. Nora's stomach lurched. "That's impossible. I don't even have access to the trust." She grabbed the papers, her eyes scanning rows of numbers and timestamps. The transactions were clean, professional, too perfect. Her coding instinct screamed forgery. "This is fabricated. Someone's framing me." "Braining you?" Lila's laugh was a venomous trill. "Sweetie, we traced the hack to your IP address. You're not that good at covering your tracks." She tossed her blonde hair, her emerald earrings catching the chandelier's light. Lila, the darling of Seattle's tech scene, had always hated Nora's raw talent, her refusal to play the corporate game. "Lila, stop it." Nora's voice cracked. She turned to her parents, desperation clawing at her chest. "Mom, Dad, you know me. I'd never steal from you. I've been working on Vanguard Lock, not hacking your accounts." Diane's gaze was glacial, her silver bob immaculate. "We trusted you, Nora. Supported you through college, your startups, your mistakes." Her eyes flicked to Nora's belly, a silent accusation. The father, a fleeting mistake from a coding bootcamp fling, was long gone, leaving Nora to face this alone. But this is betrayal. Richard stood, his broad shoulders filling the room. A former linebacker turned venture capitalist, he'd always been Nora's hero. Until now. "You're out of the will, out of this family. You have 30 minutes to pack and leave." The words hit like a physical blow. Nora staggered back, her hip bumping the island. "You're disowning me? Over this? You haven't even asked for my side." "Your side?" Mason snapped. "The evidence is ironclad. You're lucky we're not pressing charges." Tears burned Nora's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She looked at the family portrait again, at Evelyn's wide smile. Her older sister, dead at 25 from a hospital hack that spiraled a ventilator into chaos, would have believed her. Evelyn would have fought for her. But Evelyn was gone, and Nora was alone. "Fine," she whispered, clutching her laptop tighter. "I'll go." She grabbed a framed photo from the mantel, the one of her and Evelyn, arms around each other at Pike Place Market, fish flying in the background. It was the only piece of this place she wanted. She didn't look back as she stormed to the guest room, her childhood bedroom long since converted to Mason's home gym. In the room, she stuffed a duffel with essentials. Clothes, a charger, a dog-eared diary from her teens. Her hand shook as she zipped it shut, the weight of her twins pressing against her ribs. Twins. She hadn't told anyone yet, not even her family. The drugstore test she'd taken in a gas station bathroom 2 weeks ago had confirmed it, turning her fear into resolve. Liam and Luna, she'd named them in her head, a promise to give them a better life than this. The penthouse's front door slammed behind her, the sound echoing in the sterile hallway. The elevator ride down felt like a descent into hell, each floor a reminder of what she'd lost. Outside, Seattle's drizzle coated her face, mixing with silent tears. Her beat-up Honda Civic waited in the guest lot, a relic from college she'd refused to trade for one of Richard's flashy Teslas. She tossed her bag in the back, slid into the driver's seat, and gripped the wheel until her knuckles whitened. The engine sputtered to life, and she pulled onto the slick streets, Capitol Hill's mansions fading in her rear view. She didn't notice the black SUV trailing her, its tinted windows blending into the rain. The sabotage struck on a steep descent toward the waterfront. Nora pressed the brake pedal, her foot sinking to the floor with no resistance. Her heart slammed into her throat as the Civic accelerated, the Puget Sound's gray expanse looming at the road's end. "No, no, no," she screamed, yanking the wheel to avoid a cyclist. The car swerved, tires screeching, and clipped a guardrail, spinning to a stop inches from a drop into the water. She sat there, gasping, her hands trembling on the wheel. Rain pounded the windshield, blurring the world. A passing driver honked, yelling something she couldn't hear. Nora fumbled for her phone, her fingers clumsy as she dialed a tow truck. An hour later, at a grimy auto shop off Alaskan Way, the mechanic's verdict was a gut punch. "Brake lines were cut," he said, wiping grease from his hands. "Clean job. Someone wanted you gone." Nora's knees buckled. She leaned against the shop's counter, the smell of oil and metal grounding her. Who would? But she knew. Mason's cold eyes, Lila's smirk, her parents' dismissal. They'd already erased her. Was this their next step? She paid cash for the repair, depleting her meager savings, and drove north, her eyes darting to the rear view for that black SUV. She needed a place to hide, to think. Aurora Avenue's neon signs flickered through the rain, offering seedy motels with no questions asked. She chose the Starlight Inn, its vacancy sign buzzing like a warning. The clerk, a bored 20-something with a lip ring, took her cash and handed her a key without a glance. Room 12 smelled of mildew and regret, its faded floral wallpaper peeling at the edges. Nora locked the door, wedged a chair under the knob, and sank onto the lumpy mattress. Her laptop hummed as she powered it on. Vanguard locks code her only lifeline. She opened the diary next, its pages a time capsule of betrayal. A scrawled entry from 5 years ago caught her eye. Mason took my algorithm pitch to Dad, claimed it as his. Lila told everyone at TechCrunch I'm a hack. Evelyn says I'm better than them. She's right. Evelyn. Nora's throat tightened. She pulled out the Pike Place photo, her fingers tracing her sister's face. Tucked behind the frame, a small USB drive slid free, its label faded but legible. EC Backup. Evelyn Callahan. Nora's pulse quickened. Evelyn had always been the family's secret keeper, the one who saw through Mason's charm and Lila's lies. What had she hidden? Before she could plug it in, her phone buzzed. A notification from her cloud server. DDoS attack detected. Source IP 192 January 47th 168. Nora's blood ran cold. She knew that IP, Mason's home office. He was trying to wipe Vanguard Lock, her life's work, from existence. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, rerouting traffic, isolating the attack. She saved the prototype, but the damage was done. Her location was exposed, a digital breadcrumb for whoever was hunting her. A knock at the door jolted her. She froze, her hand hovering over the laptop. "Who's there?" she called, her voice barely steady. "It's Ethan. Ethan Hayes. Nora, let me in." Ethan, her former colleague from Callahan Solutions. the only one who'd ever matched her in a coding sprint. She hadn't seen him since she quit, since the rumors Lila spread cost her the job. But his voice, warm and steady, was a lifeline she couldn't ignore. She cracked the door, peering into his hazel eyes, rain-soaked hair plastered to his forehead. "How'd you find me?" she asked, not opening the door wider. "Maggie heard about the trust fund mess. Said you'd vanished. I tracked your phone's last ping." He raised his hands, palms out. "I'm not here to hurt you, Nora. I want to help." She hesitated, then let him in, locking the door behind him. Ethan's presence filled the cramped room, his flannel shirt and jeans a stark contrast to the penthouse's polish. He glanced at her belly, his eyes softening, but he didn't ask. Instead, he pulled a diner menu from his pocket. "You need to eat, let's talk." Over greasy coffee at a 24-hour diner down the street, Nora spilled it all. The ambush, the forged statements, the break lines, the DDoS attack. She hesitated, then told him about the twins, her voice breaking. "Liam and Luna. They're why I can't give up." Ethan's jaw tightened, but his gaze was steady. "You're not alone anymore. My family's got their own tech dynasty crap. Pressure, lies. I get it. I'm staying, Nora, whatever it takes." She wanted to believe him, but trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. Back at the motel, she plugged in Evelyn's USB. The files were encrypted, a maze of financial records and cryptic notes, trust fund discrepancies, M siphoning, LD complicit, Mason Callahan, Lila Dawson. Nora's breath caught. Evelyn had known they were rotten. Had she died for it? A creak outside the door snapped her back. She yanked the USB free, her heart racing. Through the window's grimy blinds, a shadow moved. A figure in a black hoodie, slipping into the rain. Nora's hand went to her phone, ready to call Ethan, but a text from an unknown number stopped her cold. Drop the code or lose everything. She sank to the floor, clutching the USB, the photo of Evelyn beside her. Someone was watching, someone new, and as Seattle's rain battered the motel, Nora realized the fight for her twins, her code, and her life had only just begun. The Starlight Inn's neon buzz was a heartbeat in the dark, matching the pulse pounding in Nora Callahan's ears. Rain streaked the motel window, Seattle's endless drizzle a mirror to her unraveling world. She sat cross-legged on the sagging bed, her 6-month pregnant belly straining her faded sweater, Evelyn's USB drive hot in her palm. The cryptic text, "Drop the code or lose everything," glowed on her phone, a taunt from an unseen enemy. Ethan Hayes stood by the door, his flannel-clad shoulders tense, hazel eyes scanning the parking lot for the hooded figure who'd vanished into the night. "You sure you're okay?" Ethan's voice was low, a warm anchor in the storm. He'd insisted on staying after their diner confession, his vow to protect her and her twins, Liam and Luna, still ringing in her ears. Nora nodded, though her hands trembled as she plugged the USB into her laptop. "I have to know what Evelyn left me." Her voice was steady, but her heart wasn't. Evelyn, her late sister, had been the only Callahan who saw through the family's polished lies. If anyone had answers, it was her. The screen flickered, a password prompt glowing. Nora typed would be 1,999, the year she and Evelyn built sandcastles on their last family vacation. The drive unlocked, revealing a maze of files, spreadsheets, emails, and scanned documents labeled Callahan Trust Anomalies. Her breath caught as she opened one. Offshore accounts in the Caymans, with transactions totaling millions. Dates stretched back a decade, some stamped with Evelyn's digital signature. Did she know? Nora's mind raced. Had Evelyn uncovered their father's secrets? Was her death, blamed on a hospital hack, more than a tragic glitch? "Ethan, look at this." Nora turned the laptop. His eyes narrowed, scanning the numbers. "That's heavy. Richard's been preaching family legacy while hiding this?" Ethan's tone held a bitter edge. hinting at his own family's tech dynasty scandals. He leaned closer, his arm brushing hers, the contact sparking a warmth Nora couldn't afford to feel. Not now, not with danger circling. Before she could respond, her phone buzzed. A server alert. Vanguard lock prototype. Unauthorized access attempt. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, tracing the IP. Mason's office again. Her brother wasn't just trying to erase her code, he was relentless. She fortified the firewall, her jaw tight. He's not stopping. Ethan's hand hovered near hers, then pulled back. We need to move you somewhere safe. This motel's a trap waiting to spring. Nora hesitated. Trusting Ethan felt like stepping onto thin ice, but the alternative, facing Mason's attacks alone, was worse. Your place? She asked, her voice soft but probing. He nodded, a flicker of something unspoken in his eyes. It's not much, but it's off the grid. No one will find you there. By dawn, Nora was in Ethan's Capitol Hill apartment, a cozy one-bedroom cluttered with coding books and vinyl records. The smell of fresh coffee grounded her as she set up her laptop on his scarred oak table. Ethan cooked eggs, humming a Springsteen tune, his ease a stark contrast to the motel's dread. You like your yolks runny? He called, flashing a grin that made her heart stutter. Surprise me, she said, her tone lighter than she felt. The domesticity was a fragile bubble and she wasn't ready to pop it, not yet. Over breakfast, Nora prepped for a virtual pitch to the Pacific Northwest Tech Accelerator, a shot at funding Vanguard Tech, her fledgling company named for her twins. The accelerator's online showcase was her chance to prove Vanguard Lock, a medical IoT encryption, could save lives, unlike the hack that killed Evelyn. Ethan watched her rehearse, his feedback sharp but kind. Hit the emotional angle, he said. Your story's your strength. The pitch went live at noon, Nora's face filling the Zoom screen as she faced a panel of VCs. Her voice was steady, her slides crisp, detailing Vanguard Lock's role in securing hospital devices. A judge, a silver-haired woman named Clara Voss, leaned forward. Impressive, Ms. Callahan. I hear your sister Lila's tied to the Women's Future Fund. Any collaboration there? Nora's stomach twisted. Lila, her brother's fiancé, had stolen her algorithm years ago, parading it as her own. The mention stung, but Nora kept her cool. I don't have a sister, she said, her voice ice. Vanguard Tech is mine alone. Clara blinked, then nodded. The line landed like a grenade. Within hours, X posts exploded with Idonta, Abba's sister, Nora's defiance trending alongside Vanguard Tech's name. Her inbox flooded with support and threats. One anonymous message read, You'll pay for that, thief. Lila's handiwork, no doubt. Ethan scrolled through the posts, whistling. You're viral, Nora. Good or bad, that's leverage. She forced a smile, but the threats gnawed at her. Leverage won't stop whoever cut my brakes. That night, Ethan's secret slipped out over takeout pizza. They sat on his couch, the Space Needle glowing through the window, when he confessed. My mom knew Maggie. They worked together at Callahan Solutions before everything. He pulled out his phone, deleting Maggie's contact with a flourish. See? I'm with you, Nora. No divided loyalties. Her heart softened, but suspicion lingered. Why now, Ethan? You could have stayed out of this. He leaned closer, his voice low, charged with something dangerous. Because I've watched you fight for years. Against Mason, Lila, the whole damn system. I'm done standing on the sidelines. His eyes held hers, the air between them electric, but he pulled back, breaking the spell. Besides, someone's got to keep you from burning out. Nora laughed, the sound surprising her. You're not wrong. But the moment lingered, a promise neither could voice. Not with her twins, her company, and her family's betrayal hanging over them. The next morning, a $30,000 zero-cent seed grant hit Vanguard Tech's account, wired from Clara Voss's VC firm. Claire's email was brief: "Your resilience sold me. Don't let the noise stop you." Nora stared at the number, her first real win since the penthouse ambush. She wanted to celebrate, but a drive through downtown Seattle killed the mood. A billboard loomed over Pine Street, Lila's face beaming beside the words, "Women's Future Fund, Empowering Tomorrow." The tagline was Nora's algorithm pitch, word for word, stolen from a tech meetup 3 years ago. Rage burned through her. "She's using my work to play saint," Nora spat, gripping the wheel. Ethan's jaw tightened. "We'll bury her with proof. You've got the code logs, right?" Nora nodded, her mind racing. Back at the apartment, she dug into Evelyn's USB again, decrypting more files. One email, sent from Evelyn to an unknown address, chilled her. "Lila's charity is a front. Follow the money." Curiosity hook 3. Was Lila laundering through her fund? Did Nora's code, now in Lila's hands, hold the key to exposing it? The tension peaked at the Cascadia Tech Summit, a glittering event at the Seattle Convention Center. Nora, now 7 months pregnant, stood backstage, her black blazer hiding her belly. She was there to present Vanguard Block, but her real mission was to confront Lila. Ethan stood beside her, his hand grazing her back, a touch too brief to mean nothing, too deliberate to ignore. "You've got this," he murmured, his breath warm against her ear. On stage, Nora's slides lit up the screen, her voice commanding as she demoed Vanguard Lock. Then she pivoted, her tone sharp. "This code is mine, built from scratch, but someone else claims it." She clicked to a slide of time-stamped code commits, predating Lila's charity by years. "These logs don't lie. Theft does." The crowd murmured, phones flashing as ex-post spread her words. Lila in the front row went rigid, her emerald earrings glinting like warning lights. Nora met her gaze, unyielding. Backstage, Ethan grinned. "That's my girl," he said, then caught himself, his cheeks flushing. Nora's heart skipped, but danger loomed too close for romance. That night, they returned to Ethan's car, parked in a Summit lot to find it vandalized. Traitor was spray-painted across the hood in red, a cease and desist letter from Lila's lawyer tucked under the wiper. Nora's hands shook as she read it, the legalese accusing her of defamation and IP theft. Ethan cursed, kicking a tire. "This is Mason's playbook. Lila's just the face." Nora studied the letter's handwriting. Blocky, precise, unlike Lila's looping scrawl. Curiosity hook 4. Was Mason pulling strings? Or Diane, her mother, whose silence cut deeper than any threat? She stuffed the letter in her bag, her resolve hardening. "I'm done running." The fight went legal. Nora hired Renee Carter, a shark of an attorney with a reputation for shredding tech giants. In Renee's Belltown office, Nora compiled her arsenal. Code commits, emails from Lila boasting about her algorithm, screenshots of Mason's DDoS attack. Renee's eyes gleamed. "This is a slam dunk. But we need more, something personal." Nora hesitated, then pulled out an old audio file, recorded unknowingly at a family dinner years ago. Diane's voice, crisp and cruel, schemed with Lila. "Nora's too soft. We'll cut her out before she drives us down." The betrayal stung anew, but Nora handed it over. "Use it." The lawsuit hit like a bomb. In King County Superior Court, Nora faced Lila across a polished table, Ethan at her side. Lila's composure cracked when she saw him, her eyes narrowing. "You picked the wrong team, Hayes," she hissed, low enough for only them to hear. Ethan's hand found Nora's under the table, a secret anchor. "I'm exactly where I belong," he said, his tone a velvet threat. The air crackled, their loyalty a silent vow neither Lila nor the court could break. Renee submitted the audio, Diane's voice echoing through the room. Gasps rippled among spectators. Lila's lawyer fumbled, but the judge, a stern woman named Patel, cut through the noise. Pending review, I'm issuing a temporary injunction. Ms. Dawson, you're barred from profiting off Vanguard Tech's IP. Outside, reporters swarmed Nora, mics thrusting forward. Ms. Callahan, any comment on your sister's fraud? One shouted. Nora's voice was steel. I spoke in court. That's enough. Ex-posts lit up, hailing her as a tech underdog, but a new email from Richard chilled her victory. Lila's gone. Don't look for her. Curiosity Hook 5. Where was Lila? Had Richard's empire crumbled, or was this another trap? Back at Ethan's apartment, Nora threw herself into Vanguard Lock, refining its encryption in a makeshift lab of monitors and coffee mugs. She dedicated the code to Diane's memory, not out of love, but defiance. She erased me, Nora told Ethan, her voice soft but fierce. This is my answer. The Callahan empire was imploding. Ex-posts reported Richard and Diane's bankruptcy, their penthouse foreclosed. Nora felt no pity, only closure. She and Ethan moved to a modest Capitol Hill house, its small garden a promise of roots. The twins Liam and Luna were born in a quiet hospital room, their cries a melody of hope. Ethan held her hand, his eyes wet. You did it, Nora. Weeks later, the twins giggled as they planted orange and lemon trees, their tiny hands patting soil. Nora laughed, the sound purer when Luna smeared dirt on Ethan's jeans. You're cleaning that, she teased, her eyes catching his. The moment was tender but charged, their unspoken feelings a tightrope they hadn't crossed. Ethan broke the silence, pulling out Evelyn's unedited photo, the one from Chapter 1's mysterious package. Found it in her old album, tucked in my mom's attic. Evelyn wanted you to have it. The truth was a gift, tying them closer. Under a pergola strung with fairy lights, Nora and Ethan watched the twins chase butterflies. I'm not just surviving, she said, her voice a quiet triumph. I'm thriving. As me. Vanguard Tech soared, landing a $500,000 zero cents hospital contract. Ex-posts buzzed with Lila's downfall, her charity under FBI scrutiny for fraud. Mason vanished, a ghost in Seattle's tech scene. Diane's second email, begging for contact, went unanswered. Nora's focus was her twins, their crayon drawings of Mommy's computer pinned to the fridge. In the garden, Nora looked at her citrus trees, their green leaves bright against the Seattle gray. They erased me, she whispered, but I built what they'll never touch.